Okay, we have Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo along with Cassius Winston, Matt McQuaid, and Nick Ward. We're going to start with an opening statement from Coach Izzo. Then we're going to open up the Q&A for the student athletes specifically. See a lot of familiar faces. You guys know the drill. Please raise your hand and direct one of your questions to the student athletes specifically. The student athletes will be up here for a few minutes, and then we're going to dismiss them to the breakout sessions, and Coach Izzo will stay up here on the dais. Coach, good afternoon. Take an opening statement.
Yeah, we're excited. You know, it doesn't get any better than this. I think this has been a year when players teach you more than you teach them, as resilient as they've been and kind of what they've gone through. But as we've talked about it as a staff and we've talked with our players, everything we've gotten this year, from our Big Ten championship, the Big Ten tournament, to you know, this Elite Eight appearance, has been earned, not given, and that makes it special. And the guys that earned it are the guys to the right of me. And they've taken me along for the ride. So we're excited to be here. We know that Duke is, you know, the #1 overall seed, and they've earned all their stuff too with the way that program has been, Coach K and the players. So hopefully it'll be as good a game as the billing.
All right, we'll start right in the middle with Spartan Nation.
Question for Cash and for Matt. Excuse me, Hondo Carpenter with Spartan Nation. As captains of this team, a lot of talk about Zion, but your guys' team is extremely physical too. I just asked Zion about matching up. Do you think your physicality is under the radar and not getting the attention maybe nationally that people in the Big Ten are aware of?
Matt, you want to start?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we do a lot of little things, you know, and Coach always says attention to detail, and we just try to go out there and execute as best as we can, you know, on our cutouts and just on the defensive end and everything we do. It's just all detail.
Yeah, we do a good job of hitting bodies, being physical down there, boxing out. You know, we play physical. We play in a really physical league, so you know, physicality and stuff isn't new to us really.
Come right in row 3. Yep.
Mike Toper with Spectrum News in Raleigh. This will go either Matt or Cassius. You guys have been on a roll going back even to the Big Ten. Can you put a figure on what's gone so right to allow you guys to kind of just keep, you know, piling up win after win like this?
Cassius?
I would think our defense, you know, that's been the most consistent thing for us. Just, you know, holding teams to low percentages, cleaning up on the rebounds and things like that. Just playing Michigan State basketball for this little stretch, you know. We've been rebounding, running, defending, and that's what we do best.
Stay right in that same row.
Cassius, Matt Sachs for the Hoya. What have you seen on tape so far of Trey Jones? What's your plan of attack for tomorrow?
He's a really good player for that team. He does, you know, almost all the little things. You know, they got a lot of talented players, a lot of dudes that, you know, got a lot of credit, you know, and things like that. But he holds them together. He makes big plays for them. He's a really good defender. So, you know, he's a key part of that team.
We're going to stay on our right to Zach, and then we'll come to the middle.
Nick, what have you seen from Zion, and how much are you looking forward to the challenge of facing basically the guy everyone's talked about all season?
Well, you know, he's extremely athletic. He rebounds the ball at a high level. And he's a great player overall. You know, me, X, and Kenny, you know, and all the bigs really are very excited to take on this challenge tomorrow. And, you know, we'll do our best to contain him.
Right in the middle.
Michelson, State News. Nick, first of all, just the hand and kind of what's your status and how's it feeling for tomorrow?
You know what, my hand's doing good. You know, it was just a bruise, so I'll be fine. You know, it's day-by-day type thing. So I'll be fine, though.
And then obviously, it's for any of you, just the whole year nationally, Duke's been the story, Zion's been the story, but with them having 2 close calls in the past week, is there any of that kind of like leads you to guys be like, it's just a team? You know what I mean? Like, is that change anything?
I mean, I think that was our mindset going into the game anyway. They're a really good team. You know, they earned their position. They earned to be in the situation that they're in. I feel like we're a really good team also, and we earned to be in this situation too. So, you know, we both got good coaches. We both got good programs. It comes down to executing and which team plays the hardest.
Matt, anything to add in the matchup with Duke?
Yeah, I mean, both respectable teams, both earned what they had, like Cassius said. we're just excited for the opportunity to play in the Elite Eight.
We're going to go on our left-hand side here.
Chris Solari, Detroit Free Press. Nick, when you landed yesterday, I guess, what was the first thought that you went through your head on that hand? And second of all, when you woke up this morning, how was it? And is there anything that's going to keep you off the court tomorrow?
Nothing's going to keep me off the court tomorrow. And, my first thought when I landed on the hand was, just make sure everything was all right. My trainers, Nick and Doc, took me back and made sure everything was cool, and everything was good. So basically, this morning it was sore. It was sore, but I expected that. So it's more about a day-by-day type feel.
Courtney, we're going to go back to your right-hand side there. Yep.
John Fanta, College Hoops Digest. Cassius, Coach Izzo has talked about how you rise above the pressure and it never really gets to you. I'm interested to know where that might have started for you in your playing career, maybe if it was in your youth or just where that gene comes from to rise above that.
As I would say, just been a long time. I remember when I was little, I used to cry a lot. I used to let my emotions get the best of me in a lot of situations, and it just, like I said, it didn't help me any. You know what I'm saying? It would just take me away from my game, and nothing ever good came from it. So, I've been through a lot of mistakes, been through a lot of situations, just keep learning, getting better to the point where I feel like there's not much that you can throw at me that I haven't seen, not a lot of situations that I haven't been in. So I'm going to figure out a way to get out of it.
Stay with Zach.
Zach Brazil, New York Post. For Cassius and Matt, when the bracket came out, everyone kind of pointed to this was the dream matchup, Michigan State, Duke. Obviously they're freshmen against your experience and your savvy. Was this something you were looking forward to or hoping to see to get this challenge against the team that everyone kind of is pegged as the favorite from day one?
I don't say we were looking forward to it. Just we focus on one game at a time, and that's been our mindset the whole way. And now that we're in this situation, we're not afraid of it. We embrace challenges, we embrace opportunities. They're the highest number one seed. So it's gonna be a huge game, a huge opportunity for us, and we're looking to take advantage of it.
Yeah, like Cassius said, just having that one game mentality and winning the weekend. We knew big picture. If we would probably had to see them, but we were just taking it one game at a time, and now we have the opportunity to play them.
Stand back with Marty.
Marty Smith, ESPN. I'd like to hear from all three of you guys, please. How would you describe Coach Izzo's impact on your lives, both as men and as players? Don't cry, Coach.
Nick, can you start on that, please?
Well, Coach Izzo just wants the best for you. He pushes you to your limit each and every day, which is only going to help you, on and off the court, to seeing your full potential. And he's never satisfied, which is good, because he doesn't accept mediocrity. So he's just a big role model for me, just the way he does things and the way he's never satisfied really inspires me.
Yeah, Coach, one of the most passionate people I ever met. Always coming ready to work, and I know you guys only saw him that one clip of him that got on Henny, holding him accountable. What y'all don't see is him laughing with us at practice, laughing with us off the court, joking around with us. When somebody's going through something, him being the first one to call, or just help us get through tough times. He's always the first one at our door. He always says call us whenever he wants. He's a big part of everyone on this team's lives.
Yeah, definitely. Just a huge part of the person and the player I am today. Just constantly pushing you, constantly wanting you to get better, constantly believing in you more than maybe you believe in yourself. And that's just huge. A lot of things thrown at you, a lot of things you got to learn on the fly. He with you, every step of the way, just pushing you.
And guys on our right-hand side from the standing room.
Casey Harrison, State News. For the players, I guess can you take me through your initial play against Duke in 2016, and from then, how you guys have grown as players to at this point in time?
Cassius, you want to start, and we'll go the other way? Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Is that my freshman year?
Yeah, your freshman year, played it at Duke at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Wow.
The experiences from that game and how you feel you've grown as players since then.
Oh, man. That feel like so long ago. Yeah, I am. Like I said, I feel like we're more more confident. We know more about ourselves, the type of team we are. We know the system. We know the coach better. All type of things. You know, we've grown over these years, and I feel like, you know, individually we're much better players, and that makes us better as a team too.
Yeah, I mean, we came a long way from that game. You know, I mean, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, we've all become more confident and better players, and you know, it's a whole different team. You know, we're really close together and well connected.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, that was a long time ago now, just thinking about it. But, you know, we're more experienced now. You know, we've been through everything as far as injuries, you know, and a whole bunch of adversity. So that made us who we are today.
Right down here on our right-hand corner.
Mark Herman from Newsday, New York. Cassius, just as a basketball fan, how much did you watch Duke, even as when you were a kid? And when you just hear Duke, what comes to mind?
You see him a lot. You know, like I said, they got a history of really good teams, really good players, and so, you know, you always see Duke. You always see them doing big things. So, you know, they're fun to watch. You definitely, like I said, when you think of college basketball, that's one of the things that you think of, just that organization. And, you know, they earned it. They did a lot of great things throughout the years, had a lot of good players come through there.
Any other questions for the Michigan State student athletes? All right, you guys are dismissed. You guys will be making your way with your sports information director, Max Carey, to the breakout sessions. The Michigan State student athletes that are headed to the breakout sessions: Cassius Winston, Aaron Henry, Matt McQuaid, Xavier Tillman, and Kenny Coynes. And we'll open up the Q&A for Coach Izzo. We'll start right here in the middle with Pete.
Tom, Pete Thamel with Yahoo, another guardian of the game-ish type question here. I asked Coach K a little bit, again, you're not sitting around reflecting on this at night with Duke there tomorrow, but I asked him about how he sees the game changing when the one and done changes in 21 or 22, whenever the NBA rule goes in. And he basically said, we don't really have a plan in college basketball right now for that. I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on, that'll be the next, obviously, major paradigm shift in the sport. I'm wondering what your thoughts are as you look ahead to that.
Well, there's so many moving parts right now, you know, with the G League and those rules and the NBA and what happens there. You know, I've stayed the same course the whole time. I honestly am still worried more about the kids and the decisions that they make and who's influencing those decisions. And, you know, everybody else say, well, the coaches make a lot of money and the teams make a lot of money and the colleges make a lot of money. But what we never talk about is the kids could lose a lot of money. Making a wrong decision at 18 or not ready for the world that you're entering. One of my first recruits and my favorite guys, the guy named Steve Smith, and I remember him saying to me many a time still to this day, you know, it is a job. You know, the NBA is a job. It's a job just like you got and I got. Some of them make a lot more money than you, and some of them make a lot more money than me. But as we all learn as we get older, money isn't the only thing that makes you happy, because there's also a lot of pitfalls in that. And I just wonder where I'd be at 18, what I'd be ready for. Well, I don't wonder. I know what I would have been ready for. And so I worry more for the players. And yet everybody's trying to say players should have all these rights. If you could make such good decisions at certain ages, I still always wonder, why do you got to be 36 to be the president? You know, it's because you don't make as good of decisions when you're younger. And hell, until my dad died, I still asked him for his opinion on things and this and that. I think these kids, I get a lot of people in their circle, and that's the only thing I worry about. If it's one and done, if it's coming right out of high school, if it's 2 years and done, we're going to play by the same rules, and probably I'll keep my job, and probably the school won't go under. But I really worry about how many kids either don't make it or make it, but their life's been tainted because they're not mature enough to handle those situations. And I laugh at the people, because I'm not against it at all. I don't think there's moving parts that I don't think we know. And then it'll take 5-6 years to figure out, was it good or was it bad? And I don't know. There's only a couple LeBrons and Kobes out there. There's a lot of people that have gone the other way, and that's the only thing I worry about. It's for them. Not going to make any difference to me.
Right here in the middle of the room.
John Titel from HoopsHD.com. Coach, you faced Coach K in the tournament now for 2 decades, dating back to the 1999 Final Four. I was wondering, how has your and/or his style or objectives changed over time over the past 20 years when you see a guy over and over and over in March?
You know, I see him. I don't like seeing him as much because we haven't had as much success, you know. But what I do is I have incredible respect for what he's done. I think any coach, any player, any person, any CEO that can consistently work at a level of excellence, I'm a fan of. And I don't think we've changed that much. I don't think he's changed that much. You know, he dipped into the more one-and-done style and has found a way as like a chameleon. You know, he just can figure out a way to make it work for him and has done an excellent job of that. Maybe that's the only thing that's been a lot different is the number of one-and-done players they had. We have a few, not as many, and but he's maintained, he's maintained it since the late 80s when I really started watching them and figuring out how they do things from the Johnny Dawkins, Jay Billis era, you know, through the Grand Hills and, you know, and then Jay Williams and the guys we played in that first 98 game, and then we were in a couple Final Fours that they were in, sometimes played them, sometimes didn't. But you always keep an eye on the programs, and I think everybody does this in life, that have been successful, and you try to figure out, you know, how do they do it, and then how do you beat them. I figured out a little bit how they've done it. Haven't figured out as well how to beat them, so I'm still working on that. That's why we're still a work in progress.
We're going to go over there with Zach.
Zach Brazil, New York Post. Tom, have you ever coached or seen someone at this level like Zion, and how just difficult is it going to be to deal with him?
Yeah, y'all know I'm a big football fan. Khalil Mack is a guy that I kind of look at and say, geez, if I could borrow somebody from the Bears, maybe we could cover him. You know, I mean, he's an incredible athlete. But what I loved watching about him up close and personal that I didn't see is he really, and I don't have any idea, but he really seems like an incredible person. You know, seems like a good teammate. Doesn't seem like a guy with an ego for the skills he has. He seems to play as hard as anybody. He's got the most incredible first step. That's why he's getting all those steals. Or he can take one dribble and cover more space than most human beings that I know can do. And so, and then he has the strength to finish at the end. So he's not Superman, but he's damn close. And we're just going to have to figure out a way, and I think most people have, that, you know, great players usually take more than one person to cover them. The problem is they have some other weapons, but he is everybody that said everything about him, I think they're all true. And I guess what I like about him is to have a college basketball player that seems content where he is, not worried about where he's going. When they talked about him having the injury and some people brought up shutting it down, I have no clue. I just sat back in my house and I said, from what I watched, that kid is not shutting it down. He was born to be a basketball player. He's born to be an athlete. And, you know, in that respect, it's going to be good to play against somebody that I respect in different ways than just as a great player.
I'm going to go to the middle of the room here.
Joe Giuliano, Philadelphia Inquirer. Tom, what has the leadership of Cassius Winston meant to your team this year, and how have you seen his maturity develop since he first joined your program?
You know, he really has matured a lot, and his maturity's been more on the court. He's one of the more mature players I've known. He's one of the better students that I've had. He's just, you know, his two brothers are two of the most important people in his life. He's pretty grounded. In fact, he's an extremely grounded kid, but he has grown as a player. You know, he's become a better defensive player. He's become more talkative. He realizes that I've been harping on him for 2 years that, you know, when the head dies, the body follows. And when you're a quarterback, you're the head, you know. And every once in a while I say, did you see those little ducklings following you again? You know, if you don't do it the right way, or if you don't motivate them the right way, or if you don't drag them with you, You know, they're going to follow you wherever way you go. You know, sometimes Cassius can be Cassius. He's got a sense to him that you wonder how passionate he is sometimes because he's always stayed so even-keeled. But I know inside there's a burning desire, but sometimes the other players don't. So I say, you know, like today I just said, practice, you know, remember, you got to bring it, even if it's not as much physically, you got to bring it emotionally and communicatively. And I think that's where he's really, really growing. And he's a special kid, you know, and he's still the guy that you'd line up, and I'm not sure you'd pick him out to be one of the best basketball players in the country. But when you watch the things he does and the way he handles himself and the IQ that he has, which is off the charts, he's found a way to be a hell of a player.
Question
Hey,
from the
Tom,
standing room.
Jonathan Deutsch, WEYI in Flint. I know you just talked about how much you respect Coach K and his program, but what is your relationship like with him, and how much do you guys actually get to interact during the year or during the offseason?
Well, it got real close a couple years ago, you know, when my son was picking teams, and he picked Duke. And I disowned my son for a year or two, but I remember when Duke beat us that year, Coach K had made the statement that he's always got a scholarship at Duke. Well, now he's graduating from high school, so Mickey's going to be short some money because I think I'm going to get Steven to go there. But I've had a good relationship with Mike. I think, you know, I respect people that do it the right way and that have, again, found this consistency over, man, it's been 30 years or maybe more, you know. And, you know, we used to be on some boards together and some things, so I knew him that way. And I am on still a couple things with him. But, you know, I'd say it's a good, healthy relationship, except one hasn't won as many games against the other, and hope to find a way to change that.
We're going right back in the middle of the room.
Tom, I know you sort of made a face when I asked about Duke's close calls over the past week. Over the course of the year, and with them being, you know, sort of the story and everything, but your team has beaten teams that are maybe more athletic than your team, even last night, probably. And so how do you kind of reconcile those two things? The fact that, yeah, Duke's a great team, they got great players, but your team is...
Well, you know what I'm proud of about our team? We've played 24 Big Ten games this year. We've played, I think we've won more quad one wins than anybody in the country. We have not lucked out to get here. We've earned our way here, and we've earned our way here through some injuries. I mean, yes, they've had Zion, and I don't have a player like that, but I've had 4 or 5 that have been injured, and we've kind of had to regroup, and I think we grew from that. And, you know, for some reason, I'm not as big and strong as some Michigan State teams are, but this group has been a little more fearless. And I've had some knockdown, drag-out teams that maybe weren't as mentally comfortable where they are. And I think all the adversity we've gone through has made us maybe more mentally tough than physically tough. Last night, you know, our whole MO was to slay the dragon that was, you know, so physical and so big. And our guys found a way to rise to the occasion. And, you know, I still think the Big Ten, as evident with us and, you know, Purdue still hanging around. It was a very good conference, and we found a way to win the regular season with Purdue and found a way to win the Big Ten tournament. So, you know what? We have a player that is here this weekend named Andre Hudson, and he went to 4 Final Fours, and he once said, you know, when we were going against different teams back then, to be the best, you got to beat the best. Well, we have a chance. Not everybody has a chance to do that. But Duke is, as you say, everybody's favorite, and they've been the number one, and so it's our chance to go against the best, and I think we're looking forward to that.
Adam?
Hey, Tom, Adam Zagoria here in the middle. How you doing?
Good, Adam.
Just on the one-and-done thing,
RJ and Zion, probably would have been drafted had there been no rule, last year.
Damn, I vote for the rule to change.
But how much do you think it benefits them both physically and, let's face it, financially, that they were at Duke for a year? They're playing against college guys and they're building up their brand before they go to the NBA.
Maybe of all the things that I would be an advocate for, I mean, we act like college is not important, and I'm not saying I know for some of my guys that are great students, yeah, it's important that way. For some of my guys that aren't as good as students, it's very important for them that way. But the experience, I talk about all the time that there's certain phases of your life when you have things happen that become memories. And that's what life is, it's a bunch of those memories. And I've always said, my buddy Mariucci and I can sit around to this day, and we both had a lot of success, but we both talk about college. What was it like living in that old trailer back home, and we just get, it's a topic beyond topics, when our guys come back, even our alums now, we did some crazy things, like many years ago before legal systems and everybody in the internet, we did practice once with football pads, and people would think that was crazy. That's the most talked about thing we have when we have that reunion and they're having a beer and I'm having a pop because I'm not allowed to drink in case anybody sees me. That's the topic of conversation. And pro ball is great and I love the NBA, but it's different. It's a job. It is a job. This is not a job. It's, you kind of volunteer to be here, and once you get there, it's a little different. But I think it's going to be good for them. I really do. I think, watching those two guys and seeing Zion have to deal with all the pressures, and it doesn't look like he's changed. I'm not with him on a daily basis, but I know I had Jaren Jackson last year and Miles Bridges, and I don't think some of these guys get enough credit on how classy and how good they are. We build them up, put them on pedestals so we can rip them down, but I think college helps you learn how to deal with that. And don't care if they're allowed out of high school, if it's one and done, if it's two and done, if it's three and done. But I do think that there is great value in anybody that gets to go to college and be a college kid. Be able to make a mistake and it not cost you the world, I think that watch what you wish for a little bit. And if it works out for them, God bless them.
Right down here on the right-hand side.
Hondo Carpenter, Spartan Nation. Tom, last year's team was a lot like this year's Duke. A lot of individual talent, great players, high draft picks. There may not even be a first-round draft pick on this year's team. But this toughness, can it be attributed to what they went through last year with all the off-court adversity that wasn't fair to them? Could that have instilled the toughness in this team that you've even wondered where did it come from?
It could have. Because I do wonder sometimes where I don't see the same guys, I had a Travis Walton or a Mateen Cleaves or, and Cassius isn't the same makeup on that, I had a Morris Peterson or Jason Richards, and Matt McQuaid isn't the same makeup as that, a Zach Randolph. Nick's close in some of those ways as far as toughness, but I think that just all the different adversity. We found a way to win 60-some games in 2 years and playing still one of the best schedules. And I think that helped too, And so we've kind of hung in there and we've kind of grown together. That's what's so cool about this whole thing is there'll be relationships for life. This is a very connected team. And I used to use the word close or everybody got along, but connected means that there's just a line, one to another, all the way down. And whether that'll be good enough tomorrow, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to the opportunity. It is one of the things you did dream of. And I heard someone ask a question when the pairings came out. We're allowed to, we're not supposed to talk about it, but anybody, if you're dreaming big, you got to look at it and say, what if we could play this team to get to the Final Four? Because winning games during the tournament aren't as exciting anymore because we've been there and done that. And so this is a matchup that I don't know how many people want, but it's 1 versus 2. Is there one other one? 1 versus 2. I think Kentucky and who? You're supposed to know that.
Just directing traffic, Coach.
Oh. Oh. So we're the only 1 versus 2. Not that it really matters, but you know, it's really what you want. The last game of the day to go to the Final Four. You know, I hear kids talk about, you know, shooting that free throw or making that 3 or that layup that you did out in your driveway. Well, for a coach, this is what you do. You dream of it, and now you get to live your dream. How cool is that?
I think we got time for 2 or 3 more. We're going to start right here in the middle.
Tom, over here, right in front of you. For all you've accomplished, you've also talked and even joked about still chasing Duke, and could you ever even catch Coach K in victories and everything else, and the 1-11 record and all that stuff comes up. Is this one of your last real obsessions? Is this the great white whale you're chasing?
Hey, you're calling Coach K a white whale, huh? You know, it's what everybody should do, I think. Everybody has a standard you want to get to. And, you know, when players say you're never satisfied, why would you be satisfied unless you've, you know, it's time to hang up the whistle, you know? Why would you be? There's always, what he motivates me to do is there's always another challenge, you know? I was around during the John Wooden era, but, you know, in a lot of ways it was a different era back then too. And, but I wasn't coaching then, you know. He has done it as consistently and as well. And so when I look at that, or when I look at my buddy Nick Saban, who has done it as consistently and well on a year in, year out basis, you know, that's what I want for me, just like what I want for my players is them to max out. So I want to max out. I don't know if I'm, you know, I'm not, I got bigger goals than just beating Duke. You know, I'd like to get back to another Final Four. I'd like to win another national championship. I'd like to get our program in a position where whenever I'm done, it's the basement's built so strong that it'll go forever. I want to, you know, I'm on board still. I want to do what's right for college basketball. And so I got a lot of goals, you know, and but I think I could focus in on making one of them the game tomorrow night and see if we could change that 1-11 record that, you know, hell, not many guys outside of their league will play them 11 times. So I figured that, you know, we played them a lot. We played them down there a lot. We played them in different events. And we've knocked on the door. It hasn't opened yet. One of these days it's going to open.
2 more, right down here on the right-hand side.
What was your reaction when you saw Zion go up way up and get that alley-oop dunk last night? And also, what was your reaction for Buzz Williams when at the end of the game when they had a perfect play and it just didn't go in?
That's the beauty of basketball. You know, basketball, it can happen in football, but I say in basketball, between the three-point shot, fouls, different things, a lot of things affect the game a little differently. And, you know, watching Zion go up and up, I said we better make sure we either put a lot of pressure on the ball or we don't let him get to the rim. And watching Buzz and the job he's done there, you know, I love Buzz. He's tough as nails and came up with a great play at the end. And, you know, feel for the kid who missed it because, you know, you kind of live with that. But you know, that's what sports is all about. There's a lot of highs. There's a lot of lows. There's the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, as they used to say. And but, you know, in Zion, you got a kid who I'd say is kind of, you know, every so often, you know, he's not a every year type of guy. And I watched him up close and personal yesterday, and now we're going to get to play him. And it's not going to be Michigan State against Zion. It's not going to be Krzyzewski against Izzo. It's going to be Michigan State against Duke. And I'm proud that I got a team that I think is ready for that challenge.
I think we got the last one from Marty right in the middle.
Coach, when you walked in the door in East Lansing all those years ago, what did you hope to achieve? And how does reality compare with all of these Elite Eight trips and all of these victories
Yeah.
and this resume you've accrued?
You know, I just hope to get a job. I mean, I applied for the job 3 times with Judd and turned me down 3 times, so I begged to be a GA, and that was when I first walked in the door. I was a GA, and just dreaming about, you know, I'll still remember the first Big Ten game, 10,000 people in the arena, and it was more than in my hometown, and I just sat there and looked around like a kid in a candy store. And then, you know, when we started winning and we went to that first Final Four, and first NCAA tournament actually in '98, and then the Final Four in '99, it was a dream come true, you know. And I said, Mariucci's been with me at most of them, and we just used to sit in my room and say, can you believe this is happening to us? And that is a cool thing. And I say to the day I die that I want everybody I touch to get to do what I do. And that is to live what you dreamed about and you talked about. Probably some of this stuff, when I'm done, I'll say superseded my expectations. But as long as I'm in it, I think I'll keep my expectations higher than what I was dreaming and see if I can reach them myself. So, you know, I wish my dad was alive. I wish Judd was alive, because I think they would both enjoy this kind of setting. And Judd, time after time, you know, would pull for me, would talk to me. I seen Gene Cady in the stands the other day pulling for Matt Painter. I mean, I hope I become one of those coaches that really puts a lot into the people that take over for me, like those guys did for us, because that's pretty cool, you know, in this day and age where half the people would be mad if the guy that followed them succeeded. And so I've been blessed, Marty, and I've been the dreams that I had have been superseded, and yet I think I'm going to pick some new dreams and see if I can go a little farther.
All right, Coach, you're all set. Good luck
Thanks,
tomorrow.
guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.